I'm just gonna warn you guys out right and up front right now. This episode brings back a lot of personal life baggage that I have, and therefore may skew my perspective of this episode towards a more negative view. And so I just thought I'd let you guys know beforehand that I don't think this episode's inherently a bad episode, it just brings up a lot of things that I really don't like dealing with. And that just because I bring up a lot of negativity in the episode doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad episode or I'm trying to rip the episode a new one. So with that in mind, go ahead and enjoy! Personally, I found this episode very polarizing. On the one hoof, it has a lesson that personally hit close to home for me, and on the other hoof, it has a few things that I just didn't really like too much about it. So this time around, I think I'll switch things up a little bit and forego talking about the episode itself and focus mainly on the things that I liked and didn't like about it. So bear with me, things might get a little rough around the edges. So long and sweet and short of this episode is Apple Bloom's having nightmares about her cutie mark, and personally this hits home rather close to me, for reasons I'll get to in a sec. First off, Apple Bloom gets a cutie mark she doesn't really exactly like. Now here's the thing, in our world, we can get jobs, and sometimes we get a job that we just think we're going to like, but in the end we just end up not liking. I know personally I've had this issue myself, and I imagine a bunch of other people have as well. However, in Equestria things are a little different. If you do get your cutie mark and you don't like it, you're kinda stuck with it for life. It's not something you can just take away. Now granted, we don't know much about cutie marks, so we really don't know how they work. We know that they're based on personality and what you're good at, however, things and interests change over time. Say for about 10 years I'm really into blacksmithing, and I get my cutie mark in blacksmithing. Then 10 years down the road, I grow tired of blacksmithing and decide I want to get into paragliding. Well, things don't exactly work out that way in Equestria. Once you get your cutie mark, you're kind of stuck. It's very limiting, and I can understand the amount of stress that young ponies especially go through before they get it. It really shines light on an issue that the show's never really touched on before. I'm just gonna personally skip over the second part, since honestly I really couldn't take anything away that was insightful about it. Basically, Apple Bloom loses her friends because of her cutie mark, and then she loses her cutie mark, and then her friends get her cutie mark, and it's all just a big mess. So, I didn't find anything personally too intriguing about that. Then we get up to the third half, and this is actually quite intriguing. Apple Bloom gets a cutie mark that's not an apple, and her family shuns her for it. In the beginning of the episode, Applejack sings a lullaby, basically saying that no matter what you'll get, we will always love you, and understand you, and accept you. And while that might be true for Apple Bloom's case, I imagine that in Equestria, that's not always going to be the case. Think about it, if you get a cutie mark in something that's rather taboo, or something that's frowned upon in the general public, I guarantee you that you'll be shunned and also ridiculed for your actions. And in the end, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't change your cutie mark, and that gets into a rather interesting issue. The general public looks at you and your profession and will harshly judge you and scrutinize you for your choice in work. It's a rather interesting topic, honestly, and one I didn't think a kid's show would really talk about. Granted, they don't go as in-depth as I am here, but it's still there. And then finally Luna steps in and reveals that it's all been a nightmare and Apple Bloom's shadow was behind it all along. And personally, for me, this really hit home. Apple Bloom's been stressing herself out so much about getting a cutie mark that she's been having nightmares. Personally, in my life, I've actually had several panic attacks in the middle of the night when I think about my personal future and what I'm going to do in life. But hey, that's just my thoughts on this episode. If you have differing thoughts, then leave them in the comment section down below. If you feel like I missed something, well then leave that in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I'm Ultramatic64, remember don't for those parasprites, and as always, happy gaming. I'll check you guys on the flip side, bye.